So, with Epic Universe now finally back in, basically back in reconstruction, like they've just announced a few weeks ago that yes, Epic Universe is back on track, although they did say it's probably going to be pushed back from like 2024 to 2025 or somewhere in that region. So we still got a few years off until Epic Universe is complete. But as we know, one of the possible areas in the park is Universal Monsters. Now, I want to point out a disclaimer that's saying that maybe that plan changed. Remember how everyone said, like, oh, Beastly Kingdom was so set for Animal Kingdom, and that never happened. So that could be, they could cut some corners. That's all. We really have to take into account that a lot of shit could happen, and I'm really hoping we get this Universal Monster area. Above all else, I could care less about the other possible ones, because they said one of them, and this is the definite one, is Super Nintendo, which is getting rave reviews over in Japan, where it first premiered over at Universal Japan. You also have, what is it? How to Train Your Dragon. That's the other one. Fantastic Beasts, and what was the other one? Because I feel like I'm forgetting one. But yeah, those are the ones, and I have to stress that, again, you really have to take into account that, yes, there is a big possibility that a lot of these plans could change. But let's go with the fact that maybe we can keep things simple. Like, maybe we can, maybe there's still a chance for this being, Universal Monsters, an area. So basically, what we're gonna talk about in this video is more or less like the idea of the Universal Monsters and that whole area and what could be in that area. So, from the concept art, we did see that there's this huge castle and this huge amphitheater, which I think the amphitheater, I'm really hoping, if they go with the original concept art, that amphitheater will be like a new version of the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review. I hope that'll be the case. I'm really hoping that is what it is, unless, concept is like, we can't build the amphitheater, so we're just going to, take that out, and instead what we're going to do is put it with different land, because they did say for a future area, because there are land permits, is that one of the future areas for Epic Universe, for Universal Monsters, is, for another phase, it's going to have another bigger area. So that a lot of people are saying because of the plans, it'll be like a lagoon area. So maybe there'll be a Creature of the Black Lagoon ride. There's a possibility of that, which I think would be cool, like a twisted version of Jungle Cruise. Or since we no longer have the Jaws, actually this would probably be more apt because we no longer have the Jaws ride. There's a good chance that this could be like a new version of the Jaws ride with new animatronics and probably some holograms and stuff like that. That'd be cool. I think that would be a neat little, a nice little replacement since we no longer have the Jaws ride. I think it would be kind of fun to do that instead. Now, the other things that we have to look at is that which of the monsters are going to be there. Like, which of the monsters are going to be featured at this Universal, area, at this area. So, of course, the big two being Frankenstein and Dracula, they're going to be there. There is no doubt in my mind that Frankenstein and Dracula are going to be the big two features, because they're obviously the biggest two of the Universal Monster movies. But the question remains, what of the others? How are you going to incorporate the Mummy or the Wolfman or the Invisible Man? Or maybe even, the Bride will probably be with Frankenstein. That's the other thing, is that I have no doubt in my mind that the Bride will be a part of this as well. But the Mummy, and the ones I'm really curious about are the Phantom of the Opera and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now, I don't think we'll have the Hunchback. Maybe there is a chance, because we did see the Hunchback in the new Halloween Horror Nights Universal Monster Maze, and he played a part in there. He had a whole part of that maze dedicated to him, along with the Phantom. So there might be a chance that we might get, I wouldn't say a whole area dedicated to the Hunchback, but maybe you'll hear bells in the distance, and that will be the reference to the Hunchback of Notre Dame, of the Lon Chaney version. And maybe that'll be it. You'll hear "Ring for me" or something like that. Now, I will say that how you could probably incorporate the Phantom is like a restaurant. Like, that's how I imagine how the best way to incorporate the Phantom of the Opera is like a restaurant made to look like the theater. You know, you have like the chandelier, and maybe it'll like blink out a few times. Maybe you'll have the Phantom like go around and scare people in the restaurant. There's a possibility, there's a good possibility of that. Have a lot of French food or horror-based food, as it would probably more likely be. But those two are the ones I'm most curious, like how they're going to incorporate, because they are from the silent area, and technically speaking, those are public domain movies, even though they are under Universal. They are technically public domain movies, and Universal doesn't like having its IPs out in the open. But you have to you also have to take into consideration that they have been making an interesting push with those two, especially, which is no surprise, because again, Lon Chaney helped push them in that horror direction early on with those two characters that he played. So maybe we may get a little. I wouldn't say like they're going to be a big impact, but I do hope that they're there, and I do suspect that there may be a presence of the Phantom and the Hunchback is there. Now, let's talk about the Mummy. The Mummy, I imagine, is probably going to be like a meet and greet. I don't think there's going to be a ride dedicated to the Mummy. I do think there'll be like a meet and greet area. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're not going to do much with the Mummy since, the Mummy's over, or there's a Mummy ride over at Universal. They're not going to do anything because there's the Revenge of the Mummy. Not necessarily. You could still, that's the Brendan Fraser era Mummy. And it's not hard to tell, you could just use Imhotep again, just the Boris Karloff, like a version of the Boris Karloff Mummy in there. Probably as a meet and greet, he's in the sarcophagus and he'll reach out for you. They will. For those who are not in the know, the meet and greet characters in Universal and Islands of Adventure, they do grab onto you, they do touch you, they do pull on you and stuff. They will do, especially if it's a villain character, they will pull on you and stuff. So I have no doubt they'll be rough with the monster meet and greets, but I do suspect that it will probably be, like I said, a Mummy meet and greet and probably a gift shop or an arcade, and it'll be he'll be all entombed in his sarcophagus, and then as the picture's going, he'll reach out and touch you or something like that. That's how I imagine. Now, the Wolfman will probably be another meet and greet, although I would suspect there probably might be a forest area. I am hoping that there may be some, I can only imagine what this is going to be like come Halloween in Epic Universe, because they're probably going to go all out for that. Universal Monsters and Halloween, yeah, of course they're going to try something like Scare Zones or something. But, again, it'll probably be a meet and greet, but I do suspect there might be a forest area where you'll see, the Wolfman, creeping around. As for Frankenstein and Dracula, the big two, I suspect that there's the big ride, the big dark ride, because they were talking the major part of this area of the attraction is that it's going to be, there's this huge dark ride. So I have no doubt that what's probably going to happen is a dark ride centered around Frankenstein or Dracula or hell, all of the monsters. People are saying it's going to be a 4D dark ride, but with the but more in the vein of what they're doing over at the new Guardians of the Galaxy with that roller coaster, of how it's rotating and it'll be an attraction plus a roller coaster. It's hard to explain, but yeah, that's how that's how it's rumored to be. So there's that. The Invisible Man might be a fun meet and greet. You could have actually no, what you could do for the Invisible Man is kind of what they do with the Harry Potter stuff, is you have a special access with a wand. I've just seen this. I know you guys know I'm not a Harry Potter guy, but I have seen this at Universal and Islands of Adventure, where they essentially, what they do is have little areas that you can use your wand. If you do it right, you can activate a little scene. So what could probably happen is that maybe there'll be little points where you can where the Invisible Man will move something, or they'll say it's the Invisible Man tipping something over, or knocking or pulling on something. It could be like that. It could be a special effect where they're saying, oh, the Invisible Man's all around you and he's causing all this, and you hear the classic Claude Rains laugh on occasion. That could be a thing. Yeah, could be that. That'd be cool. Now, the other question is, are they going to incorporate some of the remake monsters? Are they going to incorporate the Invisible Man from the new Invisible Man, or the Brendan, or, you know, Arnold Vosloo's mummy? I don't think so, because this looks like it's going to be very solely focused on the classic monsters. Now, I have no doubt in my mind, however, that they are probably going to do in merchandising and the gift shops, is that they are going to have, like, the remake monsters there. Like, you're probably going to see, like, figures or DVDs or pop figures or something like that in their collections. So I have no doubt about that. But this is going to be I think this is going to be very much focused on the classic monsters. That's the big thing. So, yeah. So that's what I think is... So that's just my... Again, keep in mind, this is just my theory, and you guys already know in a few videos back how I talked about theory videos and how I'm not good at them and how I'm not a big fan of them. But, hey, this is a theme park, and this is something I've been really hoping to see, but I'm worried that the pandemic has changed stuff around for Epic Universe. So I just gotta hope that that the Universal monsters made it. That's all I'm hoping for, is that the classic monsters made the push. Although I do see, like, again, the Super Nintendo world is like a definite. That's the only one that's so far like a definite, like, we're doing this. Like, that's the only one in Epic Universe that's a real definite. The other ones are up in the air, especially Fantastic Beasts. Because of how poorly the movies have done, so you have to take that into account. But Universal Monsters, it's been clear that Universal's making a massive push with them again, but this time in the right direction. So I have no doubt in my mind that they'll probably push this more the more we see more of the Blumhouse horror movies. So I have no doubt about that. How to Train Your Dragon might be another one that might be up, but again, that one's still very popular, so there's a possibility for that. Sorry about that. Anyway, so long story short, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? Like it, hate it? What do you think the Universal Monster Land is going to be like? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.